All right, we're live, folks. We had some little technical glitches here, but we are back. Super happy that y'all are here. And if you guys can hear me, go ahead and say hi in chat. We're going to be doing more of our text-to-speech application tonight. And yeah. So, let me have myself stop hearing. I don't want to hear myself. But that's what we're going to be doing tonight, folks. We're going to be going ahead and doing the text-to-speech application part 2. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and explain what we're doing for those who may be new to the channel. Again, my name is Tay, and this is the Techopolis YouTube channel, where we do Python live streams, but we also do where we're learning code live. So this is kind of a channel for me to kind of show what I know, but it's also a channel for me to show how I learn code and what are the trials and tribulations that I do in terms of learning code. And so this is kind of one of these channels where I may not know how to do something, but I learn how to do it live on stream. And I like this approach because you guys can see how I think and you guys can see the approach that I use for learning new concepts. So it's really good if you guys are in the 100 Days of Code or other boot camps, maybe you're stuck on how to learn something. I'm hoping that my streams are able to be helpful for y'all. So let's see here. If you guys are here, go ahead and say hi. And another thing I'll say is that I am a legally blind programmer who uses what's called a screen reader, which reads the entire content of the screen aloud for users who cannot see it. So I am blind. And yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. Since we've had a lot of new people join, I just kind of wanted to give myself a little bit of introduction. On this Techopolis channel, we do Minecraft streaming, we do programming, we do lots of things. So if you like to hear what I have to offer, maybe you want some gaming thrown in, go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. We'd much appreciate it. This channel is a collaboration between myself and Michael Deweese, who is my boyfriend. So I'm glad that you guys are here. Okay, let's see who's in chat. If you guys are here, say hi. But what we're going to do is we're going to get started. And let's see here. Okay. So for those who don't know, we're making a text-to-speech application or TTS application with Python. The objective is that we can learn about all these different Python concepts, such as functions, how to use text-to-speech, how to import modules, and that kind of thing. And we're going to be talking more about functions tonight. We're also going to be making our menu structure. So if you guys recall that last night we went ahead and created our main functionality, but we need to actually tie it all together with our menu function. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So I'm super excited to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a quick code review. So that way, if you guys were not here last night, you guys can see where we're at. The link is in our GitHub as well. So if you want to see where we're at, it is in our GitHub and you can check that out as well. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the code. I've already made my project. And if you want to know more, you can go ahead and check out last night's stream. But let's go ahead and do a quick code review before we get into tonight's content. All right. So, close this up a little bit. Got way too many windows open. All right. So, let's see what we got here. Okay, so first, import Pyttsx3. This is our TTS, text-to-speech library that we're using for Python. So this is simply an import statement, which will go ahead and import the module for us to be used. And we install that with pip3 install Pyttsx3 on Mac or pip install Pyttsx3 on Windows. Def speak user input. So this function simply speaks the input typed in by the user. And this is option 1 in our menu. Content equals input. And I changed this a little bit last night as well from last night. Content equals input, type in something to be spoken. Basically, this is where you can type in something. For example, like, hi, my name is Taylor, and then it will speak it back to you. So this is just a text input area here. It's not anything where it's reading from a file. It's just purely user entered text. If length of content equals 0, the point of this is that we want to make sure that if the length of content, meaning that there's nothing here, that we call out an error. So we do some what's called exception handling, basically where we try to handle errors so that the program doesn't crash and give the user these ugly errors. We say, hey, you didn't type anything. You might want to do that in order for this to actually speak. Input must not be empty is the exact error message. Else, so then this is, okay, our input's not empty, so it's going to skip past that other line, and it's going to jump to our else statement. TTS equals Pyttsx3.init. Basically, this initializes, so this gets the ball rolling here for our TTS engine. And this will allow us to get our TTS engine up and running. So definitely important that you guys have that as well. You want to make sure that you get that going. And then TTS.say content. So this basically will read out what's being typed in here. So content in this case is a variable. Because we do not know what the user is actually going to type in, we can't just put, hi world, right? We have to put the value of what the user is going to type in, which is a variable in this case, which a variable is a way to store data. It's almost like a bucket. So you can think of a variable as a bucket for storing data. So we're simply printing out the variable or saying the variable to the screen, in this case, content with no quotation marks. TTS.run and wait. This basically starts the loop of the text-to-speech engine. Without this line of code, you are not going to be in action. Your TTS will not work fully. So you have to have this line in order for it to actually speak. That is the first function. That is our first function where we're just checking for user input. It's pretty self-explanatory. Let's go ahead and go on to function 2, assuming I don't have questions in my chat. If I do, let's go ahead and try to do some of those in a minute. It doesn't look like I have any questions in the chat. But if I do, you guys can go ahead and answer those as well. Function to speak the text from text file. So this is a comment I left. Def, speak from file. So recall that def initializes a function or defines a function. And then this is called speak from file. So in this instance, what we're going to do is that we're going to take a name of a text file and we're going to go ahead and speak the content of that aloud to users. Okay. File name equals input, type the name of the file you'd like spoken. Try. So this is what's called a try and accept. And a try and accept is basically where we try. So we say, okay, we put all this code in this try block, meaning assuming everything works out, right? Assuming the file is not empty, assuming the file exists, so on and so forth. Now, what we're going to do is this try block is super important because we want to make sure that if the file can't be found, we don't want to crash the program. So the try block kind of helps us to catch errors. So all of this code is in the try block, right? So it says with open file name plus .txt as file. Basically, this will open up the file name as a read-only file, and it will go ahead. It's obviously indented under the try statement. And the cool thing about this with statement is called a context manager. Context managers basically allow you to open and it closes the file all in the same line. So you don't have to worry about closing the file on a separate line. You want to use this with open statement. It makes it a lot easier to make sure that your file management is very neatly done. Content equals file name.read. This simply gets the name of the file, gets the content of the file and reads it aloud. Now, it doesn't actually speak it yet, but it simply loads it into memory and it's going to be spoken on the next line. Print content. Now, I just did that as a debugging statement, so I make sure that the content is actually being printed to the screen, making sure that that works. TTS, the same code we had here, the initializer code. TTS.say, again, we're going to have content here, and this will read the value of the lines of that file. So to read the entire file from the top line down, TTS.runaway. Except file not found error. So this basically says, hey, if this file is not found, go ahead and print an error. And this is all under that try and accept. And this is the second part of the accept, the try block. It's the accept. So this is basically saying, hey, The file's not found. We need to go ahead and tell the user. So that is what we have so far for tonight. That is our code from the first stream. Do I have any questions about that before I go ahead and move on to our second part? We're going to be adding more error handling tonight, as well as adding our menu infrastructure. But do I have any more questions from chat about how this code works or any decisions that I made? If you're in chat and you're in comments later on after the stream ends, go ahead and leave a comment and I will get back to you I will get back to you and you can ask me questions about what you think. But any questions from the chat? Is anyone watching at the moment? Just to make sure that I'm live, I'm going to go ahead and do something real fast. I just want to make sure I'm live. But I just want to make sure, folks, that you guys understand this code. So, if you guys understand it, that's good. Okay, we're good. We're still live. Okay, good. I just want to make sure that we're still live. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do some more code tonight, shall we? So the first thing I want to check is I want to see if the file is empty. I want to make sure that I don't give the user, meaning that I don't speak a file that's empty. So we need to go ahead and check to see if that's empty. So here's what we're going to do. I think, again, I'm not exactly sure how to do this, but we're going to go ahead and learn together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an else statement, if else statement. So I'm going to go up above here after, let's see, after the declaring of the file name and before the reading of the file. So before the content equals read. And we're going to say if len, so the length of the file equals 0. I believe that will get to see if it's empty. Now I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and see if that works together. So, or what I could do, all right. I could use my handy dandy GitHub Copilot. And I could as well. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I just put a comment and say, check to see if file name is empty. And it will give me some suggestions. And it helps me kind of learn. Oh, perfect. Okay. Oh, you know what? Okay. So I think I have the hang of this, folks. So let's go ahead and do this together. Okay, so we're going to do a colon, an if statement. So if len if len file name equals 0, remember that's in parentheses, the length function, equals 0, print the file must not be empty. Else, go ahead and run the rest of the code. So we're checking a few different conditions. We're checking if the file is empty. We're checking if the file doesn't exist as well. So, okay. Else, colon, whoops. Now I'm afraid something's going to happen that I don't want to happen, and that it's going to run the empty block first, even if the file doesn't exist. I'm hoping that does not happen, but let's go ahead and make sure that that doesn't happen. And then we got to indent everything underneath of this if statement. One more. Okay. All right. Okay, so all right, so let me go ahead and actually I'm just going to get rid of this content line. This debug, since I already know it's here. TCS, I need to go ahead and indent this for more level. So we're kind of deep right now, right? We're really deep. We've got if statements going on. We've got try and accept. We've got the whole shebang, folks. We are just rocking this thing. So okay, so let's see. Let's see if our function works now. Hopefully it does. All right, let's see. Okay, let me save my changes. Okay. So our file did not work properly. But let's see. That's because we didn't run our function. So if you don't run your function, then the program will not execute. So you have to make sure that the function that you want to run is being ran. Now, because we don't have our menu yet, that is what's happening, is that our function is not being called. So in this case, our function is our speak from file. I always forget my names. I don't know why. Left paren, right paren. That is a function. Okay. Please type the file you'd like spoken. I'm going to go ahead and press, let's see, I'm going to make a, I'm going to say hot H. Okay. Now, what if let's see, actually, I need to make a new file. So I'm just going to say code h.txt. And I'm not going to leave anything in here. I'm not going to put anything in here because I want to see if it'll be empty. So we're going to run our application again. Whoops. All right, we have a traceback. Okay. Okay. Has no length. Okay. So that didn't work too well. But maybe we could check the size of the file, right? Because maybe if it's empty, the size is going to be 0. So let's see if we can't check the size. Now, I'm not sure how to do that. I know I have to import what's called the sys module, which is the SIS. It has all the different system functions in it. So you can do like command line arguments. You can do a whole bunch of different things. I know that I have to import that, and that is a built-in module. But I'm not sure the exact syntax. So let's go ahead and see if we can't figure out how to check the file. And basically what we're doing is we're checking it to see if it's a certain size. So the file size is equal to 0. Then we'll go ahead and run the same error message. Because we know that that method, the len, does not work on a file, we can go ahead and use the same code, slightly modified, and we can see if the code will work in terms of if it is a 0, like the size is 0. So let's go ahead and see if we can't figure out how to do that, shall we? I'm going to go up to the top of my file, and I'm going to say import sys. Oh, you know what? is. Sorry. There we go. And now I don't know the exact syntax of checking a file size. So that's the next thing I'm going to figure out is how do I check to see if a file size is equal to 0? Because I know that you can do that, but I just have to check out how to do that. So, okay. All right. Check. Check file size. Is 0. So let's see. os.stat. Okay, so let's see. So os dot, let me see about this. Okay, hold on. os dot stat. So we're going to do os dot stats. Basically, I think that's a statistical thing to see if, okay, the file size. File name, so that's the file. st underscore size equals 0. Or I could also use get size. I'm going to go ahead and use the get size method. I think that that'll work. Let's see if I can't get that to work. Let's see. Let's go ahead and run our code and see if we didn't mess this up anymore. Okay. Oh, is it SYS? I guess it is, right? I'm losing my mind. All right. Import sys. Traceback. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. All right, so we got low battery. Nice little interjection there. Good job, Mac OS. Let me try that again. I had a traceback error, and a traceback error is basically where it traces back to the origin of the error. So it's basically like, okay, what's the problem? Right? So let's see. OS is not defined. Okay. So I'm wondering why. H. OS is not defined. Okay. OS is not defined. Oops. Do I have to import OS too? Hold on. I wonder if I have to import OS. Is that a module? I think that OS is a module too. Nope. Okay. Let's see, folks. OS. Okay. Should be string. Okay, so we're gonna have to use the get size, or sorry, stat method. Okay. So let's go ahead and use the stat method. It was worth doing the get size, but we have to use stat. We have to use stat. That's unfortunate, but All right. Okay, so. Oh, you know what okay. Oh. So I could also do that as well. So if file that read equals, right? I could just do a blank condition. Let's go ahead and try that first. So what I like about this Copilot is it kind of gives me suggestions like, okay, I could check it this way. I could, use different modules. And that's what I like as a blind person, right? I can be able to get some code easily. Let's go ahead and see if this works now. H. Boom. File must not be empty. So all we did here is we put a couple quotation marks in and we said, hey, the file is empty. That's a problem. We need to fix that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our other code still works properly. Now, our other code is if it doesn't exist. So let's type in K. The file can't be found. You may want to try that again. So now we've got error handling. We've got our functions that are checking for our errors. This is great. Now, we're going to go ahead and add this all into a loop. So that way, if you want to go back, in terms of you want to go back to the main menu, we're going to go ahead and allow that as well. So all we're kind of doing here is we're adding more functionality and we're adding more so that you guys can actually use this effectively. Okay. So that is awesome. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to make it so that you can save your output to an audio file. Okay. But before we do that, though, I just want to do some refinements and I just want to get this code in a good state. So what we're going to do is we went ahead and we checked to see if it's empty. Great. That's great. So we checked if it's empty. We checked if it's not found. But the other thing I want to do, though, is I want to put this in a loop. So that way we can make sure that they can use the program as many times as they want. And then they can go back to the menu when they so desire. So let's see here. How are we going to do this? We're going to call this. So we're going to have more indentation. So at this point, we're going to have like 20, 25 spaces, and we're going to be really nested pretty deep at this point. So at this point, it's going to be really helpful to make sure that your indentation, especially if you're a screen reader user, is at the easiest possible because we're going to have a lot of code going. So we're going to do while true. Colon. So everything under while true is indented. We're going to say, let's see, what am I going to call this? I'm going to call this, let me see. I'm going to call this menu. I guess it'll work in this context. Actually, no. We're going to call this message equals input. No. Enter. Please tell me. Actually, we're going to say, sorry. Would you like continue? Actually, hold on. We're going to say, actually here, what we're going to do is we're going to say, actually, yeah, so let's see, we're going to say that. But no, actually, we're going to get rid of this message thing. And I could actually just say this file name. That way. But believe it or not, it is underneath this whole loop. So now it won't just go ahead and exit on us, right? It will go ahead and be a way to be able to not exit when the user is not ready to exit. So let's go ahead and make sure our code works. H. Okay. So now it's just an infinite loop. That's what I thought. So what we're going to have to do is indent. Okay. So now what we're doing is we're putting everything in a loop. We've got try and except statements. We have got the whole thing going on, folks. Okay. Else. Okay. Whoops. I got kicked out here. Okay, so now everything is in a loop. So let's go ahead and see what happens now. So we got everything in a loop. We got our try and accept. We're checking to see if our files are empty. If this works, we are going to be pretty well rounded for this function. Let's go ahead and see if it works. Hold on. I'm going to say, hey. Okay, so now it has the file that can't be found, blah, 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 blah. So now it's looping across, right? So it's saying, hey, the file can't be found. Let's go ahead and do H. Okay, and let's go ahead and do an actual file. I believe I called this, what did I call this? Test. What did I call this anyway? Let's see. Test.txt. Okay. So I kind of got an infinite loop there. So let's go ahead and fix that. Because I kind of got a long loop here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and okay. So what I'm going to do is so obviously works if it doesn't work, right? So we just need to get to be working again. So you know what else I could do? Actually, this is a better approach. Let me get rid of what I just did. I could also check to see if they mistaked. Maybe they had an error, right? So maybe they had an error in terms of that. I could go ahead and check. And if I did have an error, then I can go ahead and make them enter the file name again. That's actually going to be a little bit better because this is kind of going to be a little bit of a calamity. Actually, hold on. Okay, let me see. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and reindent this. Oops. All right, let's go ahead and see what happens now. Okay, so, okay. Well, true. Yeah, that's a problem. Let me fix that. Colon. There we go. Test. Okay, so then we're kind of breaking out of it. We're kind of still in our little bit of a loop here. But let me go ahead and fix that. Break. I'm gonna break this up. Okay, so that broke out of the loop entirely. It's not what I wanted to do. That's because I put it in the wrong spot. Good job, Tay. I broke there because that's where, if they got it wrong, I want them to keep doing it until they get it right. But if they got it right, I want them to move on to the next portion. That's why I went ahead and broke there. Test. Okay, so it's still going ahead and saying, can't be found. Okay, so what we're going to do here is it's still infinite loop. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to try this again. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure our code works. I think okay, so even before that, our code did not work for the correct condition. So I failed to check. I always was focused on our other conditions, and I failed to check to see if our code for a correct condition was working properly, and it's not. So now what I can do here is I can do my little debugging techniques here. And I can comment out lines that I think could be offenders. And that way I could kind of see if those are the offenders or not. Okay, so looks like the part that broke my code a little bit was if the file's empty. So that's the part that's kind of been my offenders. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fix this a little bit. So again, what I'm doing is I'm debugging. It's called the process of debugging. I'm fixing errors. So let's see. And all I'm doing was pressing Control or Command question mark to comment out lines that I thought would be offenders. Okay, so let me see. So we know that is an offender, but obviously we still have to check to see if it's empty. But what we could do here is Now, what if I were to type in an empty file here? What would it do? H. See, then it would freeze because it doesn't know how to handle that. See, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want it to crash. So we have to account for both variables here. So what we could do is we can go ahead and do this. Let's see. So, okay. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go. So let's see if we can't get this to work now. Okay, so test. So that kind of throws a loop. Okay, so now we understand that that's the empty code, right? It's kind of getting stuck on the empty code. So what I'm going to do temporarily is, let's see. I'm going to okay, so I have to keep that indented. So what I can do is I can actually do this. Let's see. So maybe I could add it in my accept. But what I think I actually would like to do here is I could add it to my file, my accept. Or let's see. Okay. But let's go ahead and skip that for now. Because I've got a lot of other things to show you. And I want to look at the best way to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and come back to that just a little bit later because I want to show you guys a couple more things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and check. We're going to go ahead and save the output to a file. So there's a save to underscore file method that allows us to save the current file, the current output of the TTS to an audio file. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, we're going to ask the user if they would like to do that. So, but first we're going to go ahead and do that ourselves. Okay. We're just going to save it to an, so we're going to do TTS dot save to underscore file. Now we obviously want to give them the file name, but we could also use that file name variable and we could save it as the same in terms of the output. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let's see, how do I do this? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so there's content TTS dot save to underscore file content file name dot mp3. Okay, pretty straightforward. So it basically takes the variable name and it saves the file name as the content. Okay, so left paren, oops, content. Perfect. File name plus that mp3. we're going to do the string concatenation to get that MP3 extension in there. And we're going to go ahead and save it and see if we broke any of our code. I'm going to say test. Okay. Traceback. Okay. Okay, let's see. Unsupported type operand. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and see what else I can do here. Let's see. I'm going to say allow or save to MP3. That clearly did not work what we just tried a minute ago. So clearly that did not work. Okay, so save. Okay, I think if we did a minute ago. File name plus that MP3. Okay. So file name plus MP3 instead of content. But we really need to get the content. So let's see. You know what we could always do is we can always say output. And okay. So we could say TTS dot save file name. Oops, sorry. Content is over what we want to save to the file. We want to call this output dot MP3. TCS. Let's go ahead and see if that works better. Test. Okay. Okay. Traceback. Okay, so I never saved my stuff here. Okay, so let's see. I never saved my file. So why aren't you working? Okay, so okay. Traceback. Oh, save. Oops. Okay. Oops. All right, let's try this again, folks. Test. Now, did it save it as output.mp3? Let's see. Let's see. Oops. It did. Let's open it. Hold on. I was opening with QuickTime. Boom, we've got an MP3 file now. It's called output. Now, I want to see if I can get this to be what we call the content of the file, right? Because I don't really like the output.txt, or excuse me, MP3, but at least I have it here. But I would prefer that it would be the name of the file that was open. So let's see what I can do about that. Let's see. So okay. Let's see. So I know that I can't combine the stuff here. I can't combine it to say plus.mp3, right? Because I can't combine file and string objects and so on and so on. Yeah. Let me go ahead and try this again. So let's see. File name. Plus quotation mark MP3. Let's see if this works. Now that we got the other part working. Test. Okay, nope. Okay. So. Oh boy. Okay. IO wrapper and string. Okay, so what I have to do is I want to see if I can convert IO stuff. Let's see. Now I'm doing what's called Googling, right? So unsupported file. I wonder if I can convert. Let's see, maybe if I can convert these things to strings. I'm not sure. But either way, this is something we could always explore in a later portion as well. But what I really wanted to do tonight is do the menu function, which we're going to do. But I kind of got carried away. So I think for now the output is good. Now, eventually we'd want to check to see if the name output already exists. And then if it does, add, another name. But I think right now we can go ahead and say that's fine. Now, what if output already exists? What's going to happen? Let's see. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and. Comma, output dot mp3. Now, what if I already have an output.mp3? What is it going to do? Okay, so it. Uh-oh. Hold on. I just saved this. Okay, let's try this again. Test. Okay, so it replaced it with output. Good. Now, all right, so that's good for now, right? What I really want to do tonight is I want to code this menu. And again, we can refine this a lot more later on. But what I really want to do is I want to code this menu up. And I want you guys to be able to navigate through the application. So let's go ahead and code this menu up together, shall we? Okay. So let me go ahead and let's see. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay. So we've got a lot done though so far. So far we've attempted to check to see if the file is empty. Haven't had a lot of success, but we've saved everything to a file. So let's go ahead and do that with our previous code as well, and saving that to a file as well. So what I'm going to say is TTS. Oops. Oops, hold on. Okay. So it's output. So we went ahead and added that same line we added below. All right. Now it's menu time for the most part. Again, we still have some things to do, but I'd say for the most part, it's menu time. So let's go ahead and add our menu, and then we can see what we're going to do from there. So our menu is going to be all the way at the bottom of the file here. I'm going to get rid of the speak from file function again. And I'm going to go ahead and say def. So I'm going to define menu. Left, whoops. Def menu colon menu equals input left paren quotation mark welcome. Press 1 to hear or 1 to type text to be spoken. 2 to speak the content of a file on your system, or 3 to exit. Okay, so that is our options. And then we're going to go ahead and check to see. So we're going to say if menu equals 1, and we're going to run the functions that we made up above. So let me go ahead and get rid of some of these windows here. Okay. So we're going to say if menu, and we're not going to do is digit, because what we're going to do is that's going to be caught in the else condition, which basically says, hey, you didn't type anything that's valid. So we're not going to use the is digit this time. We're just going to use the regular 1, 2, 3, and so on. And then we'll cache the non-numbers with our else condition. Equals 1. Colon. And then we're going to say what do I call this? I can't remember what I call my file. Let me go look at my file. And we're going to run the function that we made up above. Def speak user input. So we're going to say speak user input left paren right paren because we already defined it up top. So that's the key. When you're doing these functions, you have to make sure you do this from top to bottom because that's how Python runs. So speak user input left paren right paren. And we're going to say elif menu equals 2. And then we're going to say save speak from file left paren right paren. And then we're going to say elif menu equals 3 colon. And then we're going to have a statement that says print thanks for using this program. You now exit. And then we're going to say break. All right. Only within the loop, huh? What do you think I forgot, folks? I forgot to define my loop. So we're going to go ahead. I guess I'm not loopy tonight because I forgot to define my loop. So we need a while true to go ahead and define our loop. No wonder break can't be used because we don't have a loop. So let's go ahead and fix that. Okay. So, okay. While true. That means that everything underneath of this is going to have to be indented. Okay. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and fix this. Oops. Okay. And we're going to indent this a little bit more. elif all right, so we need to get rid of this print statement. All right, let's go ahead and try it now. TTS. All right, so I went ahead and saved that, and then let's go ahead and run this. But I forgot to run my menu function. So our menu function is going to run all the way at the bottom of the file. And then this is going to be our main menu function. And again, that will run when the program first launches. So let's go ahead and run menu left paren right paren. Menu left paren right paren. Okay. So now what did I forget to do? Save my file. So let's go ahead and press 1. Uh-oh. Okay. So let's type 2, 3. Interesting. Okay, so everything is broken. So, okay, so let's go ahead and fix that. Okay, so, all right. Else, colon, print, quotation mark, you, enter a correct option. Please try again. All right, let's go ahead and try this now. Okay. It went all the way to the else statement. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what's happening. All right. So I think, let's see. Okay. I'm wondering if 3 is the offender. So let's go ahead and see if 3 is the offender. No. Okay. So okay, so we got while true, 4 spaces. Okay. Okay. So let's see what we got going on here. All right. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of this. And because I've messed this up. So this is what happened when I'm kind of like mess this up. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of this. And let me figure this out here. All right. So we're going to do this. We're going to while true, colon. Okay. Then we're going to say print. I'm sorry. What are we doing here? Menu equals input. Right. So we're going to say if menu equals 1 speaker's input. Let's go ahead and make sure that part works. Let me go run the menu function. Left paren, right paren. I just want to make sure that our function works before I go ahead and do more of this. Okay. So our function's not even running at the moment. Hold on. Make sure your functions are not indented when you're trying to run them. Unless you're crazy. Like apparently I am at the moment. Okay, so 1 works. Okay, good. So that's good. So, and something else you might want to do for struggling is after every little function that you add or every little command, make sure you run it because maybe you're doing something. And that way I can make sure that I'm doing what I need to do. So one works. That's good. So let me just say hi. Okay. So that works. So we're good there. So I know that one works. Let's go ahead and do two. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and run two. All right. So two. So this is elif menu equals 2. Oops. What's happening here? Okay. Okay. Elif menu. I think I've got too many spaces. Yep. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to say speak. Left paren, right paren. Okay. Now let's go ahead and make sure that that section works. Okay. Okay, so far we're good. Okay. Now we're going to say elif menu equals 3. And we're going to get rid of some of these spaces here. Oops. We're going to say print left paren quotation mark thanks for using this program. You will now exit. You will not exit. Break. And we're gonna go ahead and just adjust the indentation. 3. Okay, so our menu works effectively. The only thing we need to do is we need to check to make sure that if a user enters an invalid operation, that is accounted for. So that would be an else statement. So we're going to go ahead and use an else statement now. Whoops. Okay. So else. So else is like a catch all. There we go. Print. That is not correct operation. Please try that again. Else. Okay. Else. That's not valid operation. Please try that again. Okay. So that's how we're going to work that out. We're going to say that's a valid operation, or that's not a valid operation. Excuse me. And please try that again. Let's go ahead and run that up. Okay. I think our menu got. Left paren, right paren. Let's go ahead and run it now. I'm going to say X. Okay, so our else conditions that work. I think we were indent too far, or not too far, not far enough. X. Okay. I just press enter. So then that worked out. So if I try J. Okay. And I'm going to say 2, 3. Okay. So far we've got a menu. We've got basic file operations. We're doing pretty good on our functions. I think that's a good stopping point for tonight, folks. This has been a great stream. If you guys enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and we're going to be doing more. But have a great night, everyone. Talk to you soon.